Hello, 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 hello. Listen, you guys have been seeing the pictures. You've been hearing the testimonials. You've been listening to the reels. You've been pressing like. You've been saying, hey, girl, hey. And I've been loving it all. But what you don't always talk about or hear about is exactly what it takes to prepare for the experiences that change you. The Wealthy Women Lifestyle 2026 Vision and Empowerment Retreat was nothing short of amazing. And I'm not just saying that because it's my thing. It was nothing short but of amazing. But tonight we're going to talk about the retreat. We're going to talk about the numbers. We're going to talk about what is examined after everybody clears the room. The real numbers, the real planning, and what comes next. Are you guys ready to get into it? Let's go.
Here we go! Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, let's go!
And welcome to tonight's episode of Budgeting for Your Lifestyle, the post retreat event, the post retreat discussion. And I'm excited. I am the Nicole Johnson, the founder of the Wealthy Women Lifestyle Vision and Empowerment Retreat. And listen, we took over Dallas. Okay, we took over Dallas. We did all of that. You all did all of that. My community members are somewhere in the comments and the telling people how they felt, what they experienced, what they did. Listen, and the pictures, they absolutely speak for themselves. But tonight, I want to go over what it took for them to arrive in Dallas and to have that experience without worrying about what else might be going on in life. Okay. Experiences that they had at retreats like this, they just don't happen. There was camaraderie built before they got here. There was communication, there was laughter, there was jokes. Oh, there was threats on the SmackDown. There was all of that amongst the registered attendees. And listen, I threw a few stones to get the pot stirred. Okay. I was like, well, who gonna win in space? Who gonna do this and who gonna do that? And baby, when I tell you they were standing 10 toes down about who is going to do what, I was absolutely loving it. But in the end, they were looking forward to meeting each other. Some of them had not seen each other since last year, this time. Some of them were meeting each other for the first time. And in what we got out of it, words cannot express. Words cannot. Y'all coming on in, say hello, say hello, say hello. Because this was not about restriction. This was not about punishment. This was not about going without or depriving themselves. This was truly about alignment so that they could arrive in Dallas and get what they needed, get what they wanted. And I kid you not, it was an amazing show because what my community understands wholeheartedly is that budgeting creates an atmosphere of peace. Okay? It creates an atmosphere for peace. All right. So to attend the retreat, they had to start planning for registration fees, travel fees, lodging, meals. They had to take time off work. Some of them were trying to coordinate schedules so that they could arrive on time. Two of them, one drove from one state across another state, picked up somebody in another state. Then they drove 6 hours together. And goodness knows, while they were on the road, we were on the road waiting for them, talking to them, checking in on them. It was amazing. Okay. But here's what they were not doing: worrying about what their finances look like, because last year's retreat ended on January 19th, on Sunday, January 19th. By Wednesday, January 22nd, I was already on them about laying the foundation for the 2026 retreat. I did not let up on them. Okay. And when hey, did you do this part? I laid out a plan. I put it on their budget. I told them how to put it as a line item. And when they stuck to that, by the time they got here, they had money to spend, money to spare, and they had a darn good time. Okay. So it wasn't about who spent the most. It was the clarity that they had in what they were spending on. And as their coach, as their cheerleader, all of those things were important. But let me tell you what it allowed them to do. It allowed them to be focused and be present in what was supposed to happen for them. Now, was it perfect? Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. There were some things that, as the coordinator, the organizer, that I said, I don't want this to ever happen again. I don't want this to ever happen again. And boom, just as I wrote it down, said not to happen again, I put it aside. And guess what? There was no focus on that because I needed to stay present for them. I needed to make sure that they got what they need. And let me tell you, we started on Wednesday night. Listen, one of my community members came in at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. I was like, baby, why you here so early? She's like, because I know you're going to come pick me up and we're going to get to hang out. I was like, you right. I'll be there at 8:15. Get enough time to get to the baggage check, get your luggage, and meet me on outside. And that was the start of the shenanigans. And once I picked her up, we had folks arriving at different times, different airports, and they were all posting, sharing pictures in their private chat. And I love it. I love it. It was so this was certainly a very well executed plan by all the retreat attendees, especially those traveling in from out of town. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some locals who planned and had to prepare just as much. They just missed the airline ticket portion of the budgeting, but they were serious. They were serious. So when I say you have to budget for your lifestyle, that is what brings you clarity. It's not because you have to include your bills, you have to include your everyday, and this retreat is just a weekend. There are still bills waiting at home when they got back. Okay, but they're not overdue, they're not past due, and they're not on a half and half because they took the other half of the money to pay for this retreat. We didn't do that. They planned, they prepared, and they use their budget. Let me tell you what the budget is. Good evening, Miss Shanette. Y'all, if y'all have not seen the videos, baby, Miss Shanette, no, Miss Shanette from the Shot Town. Yes, and she was rocking it out, having a good old time. And when you start using your budget the way that you're supposed to, it gives and brings peace. It absolutely is the tool that tells your money where to go. And I don't care if you make 10 figures. I don't care if you make 6 figures. I don't care if you make 8 figures. You have to have a budget. It matters not. You have to have a budget so that you know where all of your coins are going to. And when you have experiences like this, if your budget is not situated right, your money is not labeled correctly, you can't come here and enjoy what the atmosphere is. You can't be present and focused because you're too worried about what's going on with your money. Okay. So let me explain to you. Let me share with you. One of our vendors, there were some things that happened where were outside of her control. And she called me and said, Miss Nicole, I'm not gonna be able to come. And when I pried, because I'm on pry, what happened? And she gave me a little bit. I said, well, what if you tried this? I'm always looking for a solution. And I told her, her energy was, I knew when she said, I'm not gonna be able to make it. That short sentence told me she needed to be here. It was too heavy, right? It was just way too heavy. And so I needed to help her find a solution. And I told her, don't worry about coming to Vin, just come and experience. And it was the best thing for her. Hello, 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 Austin. How are you? It was, hey, Gina. What a time was had by all. Yes, ma'am, it was. A time was had. Two or three times was had. But that vendor came and she started hearing the success stories of the people in the community, how much debt they had paid off, how much money they had saved. For example, let me give you some numbers. So post event numbers, because we track how much money they saved throughout the course of the year. There are about 18 women in this community group, in this VIP group. Between the 18 of them, total save for the course of 2025 was over $100,000 collectively. Now, I will say some save more, some save less, but that's not the important part. They all created the habit of savings, and collectively, they saved over $100,000. But let me identify something for you. One of the community members who works as a school teacher, whose annual salary is only $50,000 a year, she managed to save. Y'all ready for this? Drum roll. Okay, I ain't good at the drum roll, but I will tell you this. I can clack that fan. I can clack that fan because this is a wealthy women lifestyle event. And she saved on an annual salary of $50,000. She saved over $20,000 in 2025. Yes, I had a proud mama moment when we got those totals in. And so for her to hear that, it the light on her face, because I'm paying attention to what the audience is experiencing. Okay, I know when women have a question, because this talks even when this is not moving. Okay, and that the expression on her face said, really? Okay, and then to hear people say that when I came to Nicole 2 or 3 years ago, I was not saving, I wasn't buying my medication. But now, not only am I saving, I've also launched my business. I've also launched my business. It was an amazing experience for her. But what it outlined for her was that these ladies came in, and once they got some guidance and some direction and some accountability, the intentional results began to happen. I watched ladies who I've been working with over the course of 2 or 3 years go from not saving, not paying debt, paying bills on time, to now saving collectively over $100,000, paying off collectively over $100,000 worth of debt. To hear those testimonials, okay, to see them interacting with each other, to hear them competing at the tables, at the games, but then supporting each other when they win. I had to take all of that in. Okay, I had to take all that in. So I'm gonna digress a little bit. Let's talk about who was in the room. There were a lot of similarities in the talks from the hosts, from the guests that were there. And it wasn't because they were told what to say. This was full alignment with my vision for this event. And that came through prayer, asking God to guide me to who should be in front of my people. Because I don't put everybody in front of my babies. I don't care how old they are. I don't care how grown they are. They are my babies, okay? They are my babies. And so if and when they they have a success, they have a failure, we I feel it. But to watch them feel so connected from speaker to speaker to speaker to speaker, and the message have flow and continuity, it did my heart good. to hear that. And it was an amazing feeling. And it was amazing to watch their transformations happen, to watch people who were new to us have the same transformations, the same reaction to those who had been with me for some time. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Now, what do they do to stay on track now that this retreat is over? Listen, we wash, rinse, and repeat. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, baby. We have already created the blueprint. What they'll do this year is the same thing they did last year, only better. Only better because they now have more support. That each year gets better and better. So the marketing materials say that this is the second annual. This is actually our third event. The first one was a test. Let's see how it comes out. So next year, when you all hear me saying the fourth annual, don't think I don't know how to count. Okay, baby girl knows how to count. But I am going to give it all of the efficiency and include that first one because we did a very small one and then they wanted more. So this is actually the third annual Wealthy Women Lifestyle Retreat. And I'm super excited about that because during their testimonials, and if you have not seen my Facebook page, make sure you check it out because they're already talking about how they can't wait to come back for next year. I absolutely love it. I think they kind of like me. But let me tell you what they got before they left. They had plenty of clarity, confidence, and control. And the beautiful thing about it is that I could see it all over them. They could see it all over themselves. So let me point out some highlights. So we had our second Community Impact Awards last year. My beautiful soror, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she received a Community Impact Award. Also in the House was Paulette. Paulette, and I just call her Mama Paulette. She is a founding member of the Arrested Development, was in the House as a community impact award. Hey, Cynthia, you better start planning, ma'am. You better. She was our second community impact award recipient. But this year, I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted the community to vote on who the recipient was this year. And look, we came with the Wealthy Women Lifestyle merch. Listen, we were doing it. And so the community members voted, but we had an honorable mention. We had an honorable mention because she came into the community in March of 2025. Timid, didn't really know what to expect. And she had an opportunity to come and observe. She saw a little bit of Nicole. She saw a little bit of Nikki, and she still stayed. That's what the funny part was that she still stayed. And so what I did, which I invited her, I kind of volunteered her that she was going to be a part of the community, and so when she came in, she hit the ground running. She hit the ground running, and guess what? In the course of from March to the end of November, she paid off over $10,000 worth of debt. I said seven at the retreat, honey, and she gave me the wait a minute now, you give me credit for all of my coins. Uh, but she's paid off over $10,000 worth of debt in that very short amount of time and managed to save $2,000 as well while she was paying off that debt. And it was a huge step for her. But what I noticed was that in doing so and taking those steps, her confidence was soaring. It was soaring and it was an amazing thing to watch. Okay, it was an amazing thing to watch. So let's talk about how do they prepare. Okay, so they didn't came down here. Listen, the vendor who said she didn't think she was going to make it, I told her to just get here if she could, and her transformation was all over her face. We took her up to my executive suite. She set up her apothecary table, health and wellness, all sorts of things for the body. And these ladies brought everything she had, brought her out. She was not expecting that. And it was just amazing because she said, I'm coming back tomorrow, but I need to leave so I can go home and make more stuff for tomorrow. It was absolutely amazing to see them gather and support her. And her experience is something that was totally unexpected. All right. And I love that for her. And I'm looking forward to her being back with us again next year. So, how do the ladies, how do they prepare? So, because I know that cost and all of those things fluctuate, we don't focus on what it's going to cost. We focus on setting a budget. And if we go over budget, that's extra money. It's better to be over than under. It's better to be prepared than unprepared. So let me tell you what we're going to do. On Sunday, February 1st, the first thing we're going to do is have a detox. We are going to have a spending detox. And we're going to start with the 21-day financial fast by Michelle Singletary. And I love this book because it's something that we do over and over and over again. And they have some instructions. Do not get the Kindle part version of the book. Buy the book, because as you begin to read, there are going to be lessons inside of the book that register with you one way. As you begin to grow and transform and you read this a book again, what happens is that lessons start to hit you differently. And it's not because the content is different, because the content is the same. It's because that you, the reader, are different. And that's because you have experienced growth. And when that happens, you are starting to see things differently. You're starting to process things differently. And this book becomes the foundation of a reset and a detox. Very quick and simple lessons, but they hit home and they drive home a point. The 21-day financial fast is not about just not spending, it is getting more intentional with what you spend on. So this is what we'll start first, because a budget, the fast is not about punishment or being deprived of something. It is the opportunity to start watching what you spend and becoming aware and intentional with how you spend your money. Okay, this is one way. Then we have multiple savings challenges throughout the year. They know I'll come up. Hey, it's mid-March. We're gonna say, well, who can save the most? What's the most you can save at the end of by the end of the month or within the next 30 days? But here's the thing: saving challenges are in addition to what they already do every month. So let's talk about that. Give me a moment. Every month, my community has to set a savings goal. Let me tell you about my folks. They'll give me a comfort zone saving number. And the reason that I know it's a comfort zone saving number, they spit it out too fast and they forget that I already know what their budget looks like. And they'll say $200. Now, for somebody, $200 is a stretch. Okay. And I get that. But for some of them, $200, they spend that. We're not going to go there. But it's not a stretch. So I turn around and say, well, what's your stretch goal? So they are now in the habit of giving me two sets of numbers. One is the main goal. The second one is the stretch goal. Because as long as you hit the main goal, you have something to aim for more than that, and you're pushing yourself. That's the accountability that they get. And they might hit that main goal 2 or 3 months in a row. But then when they're not really paying attention, before you know it, they hit that stretch goal 2 or 3 months in a row. And it's uphill from there. Okay. So The savings challenge is in addition, is to be more intentional. And then we go through phases where we're paying off debt. Okay. But we do savings first because that momentum sets the tone for everything else that they do. All right. So I just wanted to give you some behind the scenes stuff. Now, let me tell you, there's some behind the scenes stuff they don't even know about it. But what I do know is that some things didn't go like they were supposed to. And they stepped up. Tell me what you need. I got you. They were bringing my breakfast. They were making sure I ate. They were making sure I had water. They were making sure I took a break. They were making sure I sat down. They were doing all of the things. And for that, I am eternally grateful because when you are the person that everybody looks to when it comes to an event, if something goes wrong, who do we talk to? The Nicole Johnson. Go see her. I'm the only one that can answer those questions. And so it was a amazing feeling to see them making sure that I was okay. And I absolutely love my community. I tell them I will fight a brick about them. Sometimes they the brick I gotta fight, but that's a different story. Let me tell you, we had a blast. We had so much fun. The closing celebration on Saturday night. We took a break and went for dinner. And I digress a little bit because watching the speakers hit the stage, deliver their message, and share and pour into my community was an amazing feeling. But I have to point out, my coach came into the room. And if you know me, I be nervous. I get to, oh Lord, am I gonna do this right? Am I gonna say this right? Am I gonna do this right? Am I gonna say this? But listen, my coach coached me all throughout my event. And it was so refreshing to have him there. All right, next steps, next steps. Here's what you do. Stay on point. You're doing good. Da, 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 da. But to watch him do his hobby of taking and capturing moments was amazing. They were loving his energy in the room. They were excited about the message that he shared. And to see him post about the event on his platform, listen, be sure you connect with me. I'm tagged in every post that he created, or feel free to go over to Shay Brown, that's CHE Brown on Facebook, and pick up what he put down. Listen, this whole experience was captured and replayed in the public eye on social media for all to see, and I was just amazed. The clear pictures, the videos, the unseen moments. It was just amazing, and the commentary that he put behind it. Dr. Lisa White came in and helped them get their shift together. Robin Kelton talked about the fortune and the follow up. Attorney Christian Stuart McCrae, she came in and talked about protecting our legacy. Oh my gosh, as business owners launching and doing all the things, they she talked about being able to protect that so that it goes beyond them. And all of that was great and wonderful. But on Saturday night, the DJ turned the music up. Listen, DJ Terrence and his lovely wife, Lady K of Sonya Events, they turned up the music. Pops Casino came in. They set up the Texas Hold'em table. We had blackjack. We had roulette all in the room. And listen, somebody broke out the karaoke machine. Baby, when I tell you, it was some songs that was sang in that room that night that I had not heard since none of your business. It been a long time. It had been a long time. They sang like nobody was watching, and even if they were watching, they did not care. They Because girls just wanna have fun, and they did, and I absolutely love it. The community came together. They worked hard. They put their vision board together. They created their roadmap. But baby, when they on Saturday night, they played hard. They painted, and they painted with such intention. They were creating their own colors. They were having good conversations. It was amazing. Then they turned around and said, "Let's dance and shout. Shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance. Let's shout." Hey, had a good old time. And before the night was over, they were already asking, "Now what we doing next year?" Listen, heartfelt tears were shed. The laughter that just was endless. When you watch the videos on my social media platform, you'll be able to feel it. But I invite you to not miss it next year. Listen, I want to leave you with some reflection for tonight. What experiences do you want to plan? What do you want 2026 to look for? What will you change? Let me phrase it like this. If you knew you had an event coming up, how would you change your experience, or how would your experience be changed if you planned and prepared instead of just rushed to it? Instead of just picked up that go bag and went. But unless you actually prepare, it takes Benita to say, "Let's see, which one of these two pieces am I bringing with me?" Okay, because she got a thump of them to choose from. What kind of peace would come from planning better, preparing better, saying yes with confidence versus just moving in chaos? How would your experiences be different? Because these ladies were very intentional with the results that they wanted. And when I tell you, we got just what we wanted and more. If you're watching this live, thank you so much for being here. And you can continue this conversation with me by checking out some of my other videos. Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to at the Nicole Johnson TV, and turn on your notifications so that you will know when I'm live. Now, this retreat may be over, but the work still continues. This is what budgeting for your lifestyle looks like in real life. And this has been another episode of Budgeting for Your Lifestyle. I am the Nicole Johnson, and I want you to stay tuned in, stay connected, and I will see you next time.